What's going on, everybody? The first NFL game kicked off this past week. We are quickly approaching the NFL season, and I'm going to continue here on my series on draft decisions. And basically what that means is I'm going to talk about two players that are really close in ADP and decide and present the argument for both and decide if I was on the clock, these two players are staring me down, who would I pick? Today, we're talking about two middle-round wide receivers going very close in ADP, and I think it's a tough decision between the two. I'm Hutchinson Brown from Footballguys. I'm at HutchinsonB_FF on Twitter. And before I get into this video, make sure you all subscribe to that Footballguys YouTube channel. Click that little notification bell so you'll be notified every single time a new video drops on this awesome YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Today, we are talking about Darnell Mooney and Amon-Ra St. Brown going off the board as the 69th overall pick at the wide receiver 29. Darnell Mooney going off the board at pick 71 as the wide receiver 30. So we're going to talk about these two players. We're going to start with the Darnell Mooney side. We're going to start with the positives here. The thing that everyone loves with Darnell Mooney is the volume. The volume is going to be with him this year. He's the absolute clear number one wide receiver in this offense. There's nobody besides Cole Kmet behind him on this receiving core. He is the clear number one target. He's going to see a ton of volume. He showed he can be and additionally, he showed he can be a true number one last season. With Allen Robinson kind of faded out of the offense, only given 50-something targets last season, Darnell Mooney he had to step up as a second-year wide receiver, be the number one, and he did that. He put up a lot of 100-yard games. He put it up with some bad quarterback play. And he, honestly, he was one of those guys, one of those bright spots on this dark offense. And last thing here for Darnell Mooney, one of the things that we've always been concerned about with Darnell Mooney to be a number one wide receiver is his size. He's bulked up this offseason, being under 180 pounds last year. I've heard from a lot of reports, a lot of beat reporters, a lot of camp news that he's bulked up to about 185, possibly 190. This offseason, that he looks pretty bulked up. He's put on some muscle, which is great to see. So still a little bit slim. I like my wide receivers to hit 200 to be that true number one, but still seeing that he bulked up is a great thing to see. So let's talk about the concerns with Darnell Mooney when you're drafting him. Obviously, it's Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a huge question mark stepping into his second season. He was horrible last year, showed very few flashes. And the Bears did not add a ton of receiving talent for Justin Fields to work with. So a breakout for Justin Fields this year is going to be an uphill battle. So this is probably, as a result, if Justin Fields doesn't break out, it's going to be a poor offense as well, with not a lot of scoring opportunity. So I don't see Darnell Mooney being a guy that has 10 touchdown upside, which it definitely caps his ceiling a little bit. So the biggest concern with Darnell Mooney is just Justin Fields, a quarterback, and this offense. But even though that's a concern, it can still go the other way. Justin Fields could have a nice breakout in his second season, and this offense could be like an average offense with all the volume going Darnell Mooney's way this season. That could lead to a top 15 finish. Absolutely. He could be like the Deontay Johnson of 2020 and 2021. He really could. So let's move on to the Amon-Ra St. Brown side. Let's talk about the positives first. He showed out last year as a top 5 fantasy wide receiver, averaging over 10 targets a game in the last 6 games of the season. He was just very heavily dependent on everyone on the defense, knew where the ball was going. It didn't matter. Amon-Ra St. Brown just absolutely showed out. Even caught a game-winning touchdown against the Vikings in one of those games. Just had an absolutely great finish to the season. This Lions offense is looking to take a step forward this season. And I think this team is actually a dark horse team. Really, I think this team could really do some damage this year. I mean, with Jared Goff, second year on the offense, and you got Jameson Williams, got DJ Chark now, Hawkinson Swift coming back healthy. And obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown stepping into his second season. I think this offense could be an average, possibly above average offense this year. And I don't think many people are projecting that for them in 2022. And I think this team could honestly compete in their division. I honestly could see this team finishing as a top 2 team in their division. If the Packers really don't work out or the Vikings really don't work out, I could see them competing for the second spot in their division, or possibly even first if their rookies really step up. Because this offensive line's growing as well, not just their receiving core and the talent pieces around them. That offensive line's also really growing too. So I can see the Lions actually potentially competing for a playoff spot this year. And Jared Goff has provided elite fantasy wide receivers out of the slot. I mean, we saw Cooper Kupp put up a top 5 season with Jared Goff on the field. And that was with Robert Woods on the field as well, competing for targets. Like, Jared Goff loves targeting the slot. We've seen Cooper Kupp be very successful for fantasy time and time again with Jared Goff. Why can't Amon-Ra St. Brown be successful for fantasy with Jared Goff? I mean, we saw Jared Goff target the slot at the end of the season when Amon-Ra St. Brown really started to step up. Like, why can't he just keep targeting the slot? And the negative with Amon-Ra St. Brown, really the main negative, honestly, is Hutchinson and Swift were out during his great stretch. And then additionally, the Lions went out this offseason and they added Jameson Williams with the 11th overall pick in the NFL draft. They traded up to grab him. And they got DJ Chark, too. They signed him to a 1-year contract, paid him nearly $10 million. So that kind of shows that they might not trust Amon-Ra St. Brown to be their number one receiver. And that just sends off some bad vibes towards Amon-Ra St. Brown. Still, though, even with all of that, I still think Amon-Ra St. Brown could have a nice breakout. But with Hutchinson and Swift competing for passing volume, with Williams and Chark when they're healthy competing for volume, the volume is a bit of a concern for Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, if I were on the clock, here's the conclusion. If I were on the clock between these two guys, Darnell Mooney and Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though it's probably the worst offense, I think I'm going to be taking Darnell Mooney here. I think the guarantee for volume is just going to be so nice. Amon-Ra St. Brown does not have that guarantee for volume. I know we saw what he did last season. That is not a guarantee. That volume is probably not going to be there at that level next year. While with Darnell Mooney, I could totally see him averaging about 8 targets a game next season and just be an absolute target hog. So I really like Darnell Mooney this season. I do love Amon-Ra St. Brown as well. I like them both a lot. But if I won the clock, I want that volume. Volume is king in fantasy. So I'm going to be taking Darnell Mooney in drafts, and I think you at home should as well, even with the concerns about the quarterback position. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, I'm Hutchinson Brown for Footballguys. I'm at HutchinsonB_FF on Twitter. And before I go, make sure you all subscribe to that Footballguys YouTube channel. Click that notifications bell so you'll be notified every single time a new video comes out. We will see you all next week.